comes to the word duel, there has been so many exciting duels in Yu-Gi-Oh! You got Yugi versus Kaiba duels, you got Joey Wheeler dueling, and there's so many duels that have high stakes to them, whether they involve a person who loses the duel, their legs get cut off with buzzsaws, or the loser of the duel gets dragged to the bottom of the ocean. And these duels are something that are just super enjoyable, and they're just something that I've always enjoyed watching. I was 4 years old when the anime Yu-Gi-Oh! First came out, and that's really the anime that started my love for the whole anime genre. And I have to say, some of these duels through the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, any Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, I'm talking about the original Duel Monsters, Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, some of these duels are just incredible. But I've really been thinking about what are the best duelists that are inside each of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Universes. I mean, in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, we learn who Pegasus's top 5 favorite duelists are, and then that got me thinking, what are my favorite duelists? So I'm gonna go through the top 10 favorite duelists through the Yu-Gi-Oh! Universe. So, without further ado, let's get started. Coming in at number 10, it has to be really embarrassing, honestly. In my opinion, number 10 belongs to the creator of Duel Monsters, Maximilian Pegasus.
Say what?
I say that Pegasus is just terrible at Duel Monsters, which is really sad because not only is the fact that he created Duel Monsters, but I think, like, through the entire series, we only see him, like, duel maybe 2 or 3 times. And, out of those times, I only think he duels once on screen without his Millennium Eye, and he loses, and that's with his duel with Kaiba in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie Pyramid of Light. But with the other duels, we see him duel on a videotape with Yugi in, like, the second episode of the original Duel Monsters. Then we see him duel Kaiba in Duelist Kingdom, and that's when he uses his Millennium Eye, which he uses to beat Kaiba, and he uses his Millennium Eye in Duelist Kingdom again against Yugi, and he's beating the crap out of Yugi until Yugi uses the Mind Shuffle, and then Pegasus starts losing. So I'd say, and, oh, I forgot, he also duels My Valentine in the series Waking the Dragons. He has a duel against Mai, which he loses. Again, he doesn't have his Millennium Eye anymore. So I have to say, even though he created Duel Monsters, he is a terrible duelist. So I gotta give a number 10 spot. His duels are just boring, honestly. It's fun to see Toon World in action, but skill-wise, Pegasus honestly has none. So, he takes number 10. For number 9, we got Joey Wheeler. Granted, out at the beginning of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, Joey is terrible. He loses every duel that he comes across. He, like, loses to Taya. I think he loses to her, like, 6 times or something like that.
Yeah, tell me about it. Taya beat me 3 games in a row. Actually, Taya beat you 5 times in a row, Joe.
And in Duelist Kingdom, he screws the rules against My Valentine. He does a 1-turn kill to destroy all her Harpy ladies with his 1000 Dragon with the Time Wizard and Baby Dragon combo, which in real life doesn't work at all. Like, Time Wizard and Baby Dragon, maybe it's a fusion monster between those two. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, Time Wizard definitely works way too much for Joey in the anime. Anyway, I just feel like with Joey, he does get better as the series goes on, but his deck is just based on luck. It's based on gambling. He takes the biggest chance of a lifetime with his duel against Esperova, with his life points being so low in that duel, and using Roulette Spider. That was super intense, a super major big chance to lose against Esperova, and then he takes a bigger chance where it all comes down to his guessing a card in his hand when he dueled Johnson against the Big Five. His deck is really just based on luck, and sure, he does last a long time against Kaiba, but that's just because it's a luck-based deck. So I don't really think it's skill that gets Joey Wheeler that far in the game. I just think it's luck. Luck is always on his side. So, yeah. I think he takes number 9. My Valentine. Her duels are actually really fun to watch. Like, her very first duel that we get to see when she duels against Joey, and she uses her mind technique on Joey to like freak him out. I loved what she does with Joey at that. Plus, we actually get a duel with Mai versus Taya. Of course, Mai ended up throwing the match. She could have used Harpy's Feather Duster. She decided not to, because I guess she's a good person and decided to just let Taya have the win. But she actually really is a good duelist. We see her duel a couple times in the anime. She duels against that movie star Jean-Claude Magnum. She comes really close to losing in that, but she beats him with skill. Also, she almost knocks Yugi out of the tournament in Duelist Kingdom. Granted, Yugi's attention is torn by keeping Atem kept away from his mind, but he also has to focus on the duel. But Mai is just like, if she's just playing the game brilliantly. Like, she's using her Mirror Wall trap card, she's using these power-up cards on her Harpy's Lady to make them stronger and stronger. Then she has that dragon, Harpy's Pet Dragon, on the field that with more Harpies gets stronger. So she's creating this perfect defense against Yugi, where if Yugi attacks with his monsters, the monsters will lose attack points. Meanwhile, she's beefing up the attack points on her own monsters. It's a great strategy. Plus, we get the Battle City duel with her and Merrick, where she has a really cool combo that she does, to where she gets Merrick's Winged Dragon of Ra. She's a great duelist. Not only is she a really fun character, but she's awesome. At least for the first 3 seasons. I didn't like her at all in the season 4 Waking the Dragons. Number 7 belongs to Bakura. Bakura actually has... his duels in the series are actually probably the funnest duels to watch. I mean, in the very last season, we get his duel against Seto Kaiba, and that's probably one of the funnest duels to watch. I mean, it's all, his deck is all Egyptian themed, but it's also a lockdown deck, which is really cool. And then we get duels like from the first season, where he duels Atem in the Shadow Realm, and the monsters that are used in each of their decks are like based on the gang's favorite cards, like Joey's the Flame Swordsman, Taya's the Magician of Faith, Tristan's the Cyber Commander, and Yugi's the Dark Magician. That's a really cool duel. And honestly, he almost wins every duel that he comes across, because he really is strategic in the way that he builds his deck. Like with Battle City, his entire deck is based on a lockdown deck. I mean, he got the Destiny board, which after 5 turns, that's the end of the duel. If the Destiny board gets the 5 letters on, the game's over, which he comes really close to, because thanks to the field spell Dark Sanctuary, when Yugi attacks, and there's this ghost that's circling around the dueling field. It can possess a monster when Yugi attacks. If that monster is possessed, Yugi gets attacked, and half of that monster's attack points get taken from Yugi. And the Yugi's lost life points, they transfer to Bakura's life points. And Bakura also has this spell card he uses called Dark Door. And with Dark Door, Yugi can only attack once. So if Yugi attacks with a possessed monster and loses life points, Bakura gains them, then Yugi can't attack again with a monster that's not possessed. So Bakura, he honestly really could have won that duel. If Yugi hadn't drawn Slifer the Sky Dragon at the last moment, Bakura would have completely won. I mean, one more attack from a possessed monster, Yugi would have lost the rest of his life points. Like, he was already at 450 life points. Or one more turn, Bakura could have played the last letter of the Destiny board, automatically ending the duel. It was a crazy intense duel. Plus, we got the last duel with Yugi and Bakura in the Millennium World, where Bakura had this strategy where Yugi, again, he could only draw monsters and he couldn't attack, but for each turn that passed, Yugi had to discard a certain number of cards. It was a super intense duel, and Yugi would have, it came down to like the last 2 turns, Yugi would have lost because, again, he only had 1 card left at the end of the duel. So Bakura focuses on lockdown strategies, and with the combination of monsters, spells, and traps he has in his decks, he's a great strategist. So that's why he takes number 7. Number 6 belongs to Siegfried von Schroeder. Now, Siegfried, he's definitely an interesting character. Well, he comes from this Schroeder company from Germany. They're like main rivals with Kaiba Corp, and Siegfried is a genius. Like, he's really skilled with technicals, with coding. I mean, if you've seen it, the very last season, the Kaiba Corp Grand Prix tournament, how he codes the Golden Castle of Stromberg, you know that he's really smart. But also, his deck is built as just a beatdown deck, a lockdown deck, and it's really cool. Like, Joey almost beat him. I mean, if Joey did beat him, he would be lower on this list. He would be on the list, but a lot lower. But Joey didn't beat him. He had a strategy where he could eliminate Joey's best cards with these 3 spell cards. Also, Von Schroeder, Siegfried had this card that was a 1-turn kill that he used to take out Rex and Weevil early in the Grand Prix tournament. So that was pretty cool. Even though Siegfried's a really great duelist, just because he has that 1-turn kill card, I gotta put him high on the list, just because that duel with him and Joey's awesome. Next, we got Raphael, the Waking the Dragon's Arc, one of the top 3 motorcycle gang guys. I don't think he ever had a last name, and honestly, he is one of the best duelists in the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! Universe. I mean, his backstory is crazy, how he was on a cruise ship that capsized, how he ended up on an island all by himself, protected by his guardian monsters, and he's just a great duelist. Like, when he duels a Tem in the middle of the desert, he's able to freeze Timaeus the dragon, and he's able to have a Tem bring out his dark side and use the Seal of Orichalcos, and it's with the help of Eatos that Raphael's able to beat Yugi, but Raphael, he really does do a beatdown. I mean, with the spell card Purity of the Cemetery, as long as he had no cards in his graveyard, and Yugi did, Yugi would keep on losing life points for every monster he had in his graveyard. He also had the Spiritual Sword of Iatos, which, in the end, is what caused Yugi to lose the duel. And when he duels on the roof with Atem, there's a point where Atem, there's like nothing he can do, honestly. Like, for every card that Atem plays, Raphael is able to match him card for card, and he almost does beat Atem again. Like, he attacks Atem with the Iato Spiritual Sword, and luckily Atem is able to activate this trap card, which only brings him down to 10 life points left, which is really lucky. And honestly, Raphael threw that duel. Like, Atem did make some good moves near the end of the duel, but with Raphael using that card, I think it's like Shadow Call or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. All I remember is that it brings his cards back from the graveyard, and he has to pay 500 life points for each monster he brought back from the graveyard, and it brings his life points down to 0. In my opinion, that's basically Raphael forfeiting, but he did beat Atem, and he's one of the best duelists of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Universe, honestly. I don't think Seto could beat him if they ever dueled. So, that's why he is high on the list, like number 5. For number 4, we got Seto Kaiba. Seto Kaiba, he may be an arrogant jerk, a rich spoiled brat, a genius that can make these dual discs, and created the holographic technology that they used to duel in Yu-Gi-Oh! After Season 1. But, honestly, he's one of the best duelists that is in the main character arc, or main character genre of the series. Not only does he have kick-butt monsters through the entire series, like the Blue Eyes White Dragon or the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, but there are points where he honestly would have beaten Atem if the anime hadn't gone and screwed the rules. Like when he duels Atem in the Colosseum, and he uses Flute of Summoning Dragons to create his Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon to attack Yugi. Yugi pulls that bullcrap out to bring out Red Eyes Black Dragon, even though the card in real life Flute of Summoning Dragons only would have brought cards to Kaiba's side of the field, and in the anime it works for both of these characters. That was bullcrap. But he would have totally beaten Atem. Also, in Duelist Kingdom, when he battles Tem outside of Pegasus's castle, there's another bullcrap rule. He summoned Blue Eyes again, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, and he would have beaten Atem with it. Granted, Atem did sort of play fairly. I mean, he does use Karibo, and he activates Multiply, and with when you use Multiply on a monster, it does create tokens, but with the anime, like, how many Karibos were destroyed, just more appear again, and in real life, if you're gonna do that, you just can't just bring tokens back, just play as many as you want. So, that's another bullcrap rule that kept Atem from losing. Also, he fused his spell card with Polymizer with a monster, which you can't do, to destroy the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. And in that duel, Kaiba was gonna lose, so he said he was gonna off himself, jump off the castle if Yugi ended up winning, destroying the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. But really, there have been a couple times through the original series that Seto Kaiba would have beaten Atem if Atem hadn't screwed the rules. Number 3. Number 3 belongs to the king of games himself, Yugi Moto. Now, I know he's supposed to be the king of games, but the king of games loses a lot. I mean, he loses to Raphael, he's lost to Kaiba, he's lost to Maximilian Pegasus, he's lost to Yugi Moto, and, granted, with Pegasus cheating by using the Millennium Eye, Yugi would have won. And if Kaiba had decided to off himself, he would have won. He legitimately lost to Raphael in the duel in the desert. Like, he let his anger take over. Raphael had great spells and traps ready for him. So, their very first duel was completely fair. So, that one was a definite loss. But I gotta say, he definitely is one of the most skilled duelists. With one of his best duels is with Merrick in Duelist Kingdom, where he has to come up with different ways to keep from losing to evil Merrick, but also keep the good Merrick from going away into the Shadow Realm. Plus, he plays fair when he's dueling Bakura in Duelist Kingdom in the Shadow Realm, using his monster special abilities at the right time. So there are some duels where Attempt plays fair, but most of the time it's just like bending the rules just for Yugi to win. So I gotta give him number 3. He bends the rules a lot just to win, because he's the main character. For number 2, we got Kite Tenjo from Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. Kai is honestly my favorite character of Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. Not only is he a really fun character with a bad guy attitude to him, but he is a really good duelist. I mean, the very first duel he has against Yuma, there was no contest that he was going to beat Yuma in that duel. Every card that Yuma had, Kite had a counter to it, and honestly, if Orbital 7 hadn't alerted Kite of his brother's trouble that his brother was in, then Kite would have taken all of Yuma's numbers and Yuma's soul. So that's crazy. He honestly is a very skilled duelist. His duel against Quentin is really great, especially since Quentin is the one that taught Kite how to duel. And the only time we really ever see him lose is when he duels against Ventrix at the finale of the carnival, just because Ventrix, he plays dirty pool, and he reveals that him and Heart feel the same pain. So every time that Kite attacks Ventrix, Heart feels that pain of being attacked by a monster as well. So Kite basically throws that duel, he gives his soul to Ventrix. But from that point on, every duel that Kite goes through, he wins. Plus, he has that awesome dragon, the Infinity Dragon, I think it's called. But yeah, he's a great duelist. Every time he duels Yuma, he just kicks his butt. Every time he duels Astral, he kicks his butt. Like, they end up in a tie, but that's just because Astral fuses with Yuma. If they hadn't ended up in the tie, Kite would have totally destroyed Astral in that duel. And he's just great. He's an awesome duelist. So, he takes number 2. And number 1 belongs to Satellite Shooting Star Yusei Fudo. I love Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. Not only was it a great anime to add to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Universe with them playing card games on motorcycles, but just Yusei's strategies in this duel are just amazing. You can tell that he really knows how to duel. I think there's only like one time through the entire series that he cheats, and that's against Armstrong when they're dueling in the prison, and he has that one card up his sleeve. But he needed to do that to beat Armstrong because Armstrong was cheating the entire time. But other than that, he loses to Jack. It's like, it's only a flashback that lasts like 10 seconds. And he loses to Callan. Technically, his life points never hit 0 because his dual run crashes. But he does lose to Callan in the Dark Signers arc. But those are like the only times he loses. He is one of the best duelists in Yu-Gi-Oh! He's super strategic thinking. He's just a really cool character to follow. I love his deck, his Stardust Dragon, his different combinations he uses to synchro summon the Stardust Dragon, to synchro summon Junk Warrior. I love that he uses these decks that are just based on these machine type, junk type monsters. It's awesome. He has a really super cool dual runner too. So, yeah. That's why he's my -- favorite. He doesn't cheat, he rarely cheats, he's a super smart duelist, and he's a really cool guy. He just has a really cool mark too on his face, the like tracker thing. I thought that was a cool design that he was given. Anyway, #1 belongs to Yusei Fudo. So yeah, that's it. Those are the top 10 duelists, in my opinion, from worst to best. If you guys think how I ranked these guys was right, please let me know in the comments. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And yeah, we'll see you next time.